Shug, I think that's one of the best sides of you.
What?
The profanity, the profanity rage that comes out.
Well, it's funny. Never on my videos, because I play my videos like my show. I won't swear.
Yeah.
I won't get political and all that stuff. Because a man wrote to me once, going, "Sugar, I like your videos. You don't drop f-bombs and swear, and I can have my 7-year-old daughter on my lap while I watch you."
That's right.
And I took that to heart. And it was like with my show, same thing.
Yeah.
Make it edgy without being dirty.
Yes.
But I always tell people, they go, if you ever camp with me, then it's not that you're not getting the real me on video.
Yeah.
You're getting a me that I'm curating for people's enjoyment.
Toned down, like at least the profanity in particular, or just in general, in a larger scale?
Well, when I'm acting up and being a clown and all that, that is me. But I don't want to. There's another side of me that's still, it's like I'm being truthful here because that's how I played most of my life. It's how I talked to my parents. You're getting that Shug.
Yeah.
But if you camp with Sean, I might be a little bit more salty.
So I've got two thoughts about that. One, I've never really heard you swear much, so I was mostly just kind of teasing you about that, like this vulgar rage, because I've never actually experienced that with you. But I have seen, both in camping, in particular when we were out on the angleworm, that we got into some real stuff out there, you know, like real stuff.
And that's, when I think about a podcaster, I just was on somebody's the other night. I forgot I was going to be on, and they tagged me with that thing. Oh, you going to be ready in an hour? Oh, yeah, sure. Glad I was home. But in that, and even the ones I've done with you, when you're just talking and it's not me holding the camera on my face, you can go a little deeper. You can get a little bit more transparent and real, I feel, on those.
Yeah.
That I think people are impatient with videos a lot of times, they don't.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Backpacking philosophy thoughts, you can get too deep.
Yeah.
In general, I'm generalizing, but that's always been my feeling. Get the information to them, get the thing to them, and be done,
Yeah. But I mean, I think too, Shug, though, like, you are the person on the video. I think that's why, I think the most successful channels are when it's the real person.
And I know I am, Joe, because I've gone to 3 big hangs this year. I just got back from the one in Denmark, the second annual HangCon UE, Europe.
Yeah.
I went down and did the one in Florida in January because I met those guys in Denmark for the first one. And I always avoided these big hangs.
Yeah.
But here's what I got a lot. So you're me for a second, and people are standing looking at me, and they're coming over, and I make a little eye contact with them, and we'd just like to thank you for those. You got us into hammocks. And they start telling me their story about watching me and how he got his wife into it. And okay, so now the 17th time that happens in the morning, someone else, Shug, I'd like to could we get a selfie? And they talk to you. I had to, accept that I am kind of a big deal in the hammock world. I never wanted to say it. I never was comfortable with that. And I'm like Pluto at Disney World. I just walk, people just come to me. That's what I'm there for. And that in Denmark especially, like the Danes, when they walk by you, they go by and they give you this look. And then it's up to me to kind of come to them, but not like in America. I come in for a low handshake. I go, I'm Shug. They go, I know who you are. And then we talk. And you helped me very much with my hammocks in the beginning. I watched you because I could understand you. Sometimes the foreigners could understand my diction or something. I don't get to everything you do, but so the first one I had to realize, I came back from Denmark on the first one and told Meg, going, I am kind of a big deal in the hammock world. They calling me the OG, which I didn't even know what that meant. Original gangster, but I changed it to old guard. I'm going, there's nothing gangsta about me whatsoever. I'm the opposite of gangsta. So then I went to Florida in the States. Down there, it's in a little near Lakeland area. It's hammock specific, not like the Danish hang, which is a big outdoor festival in general. Vendors, the overlanders, the tenters, the canoers, kayakers, and now the hammock part. So down there I had to learn, you might be experiencing this, like when you go give one of your book readings and the 30th person that's in line comes by and they want to give you a compliment about the book. And I will start getting a little wise guy, but I realize I have to, from the first person in the morning to the 40th in the day, I have to be just as gracious with them as I am with that first person.
Right.
Because Irish guys, one thing I realized about myself, I live for compliments. I want them until I get them. Then I'm uncomfortable with them. You know, it's that.
Sure, yeah.
You know, you want it, and then when it's really real, you know.
Yeah.
And they really want to say it to you.
Yep.
You have touched their life just by being in some form of media.
Yeah.
And
I know what you mean, and I've also experienced it, Shug, in fact, recently with the Forest Service, where I'm always trying to interview them or get information at the very least, right?
Yeah.
And recently I was over in Ely, like last week, and they line it up for this interview about the fires, the one by Horse River Fire up by Basswood, and those other Jenkins ones, those big news fires, right? And we get this, and there's 2 separate interviews now, and the Forest Service is kind of doing the stuff, and then I found myself kind of being like, you know, the bugs were out like they are right now, even worse. And I'm kind of just sort of like, almost a little bit like, and then it's like, dude, these people, the government here, the Forest Service and the state guy was there too. They're wanting to do this interview.
They do want to. It's exciting for them in some way.
Yeah.
You know, unless the ones that just say no to you, they're not comfortable. But I think most of them, if you can create a comfort level and you're speaking their language and asking good questions, then they want to do it. So if you start getting, you know, getting that way.
Yeah, and the relation to that with like people at book events or wherever you're at a hammock hang or something like that, it's just like, you gotta kind of show up.
You do have to show up.
You know, and that's the biggest thing.
And my only job at those, I realized, and I just got back from the one about a month ago, end of May, in Denmark this year, is like if I'm talking to you and you're some Danish person and we're having a talk, or you're from Romania, it was very international. I can see when people are standing over here waiting to talk to me. And I just kind of start turning my body and gearing myself like, I'm open to you next. You know, some people will just come up and then you're talking to a group.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm there to talk to everybody, give out stickers, you know, not there to sell anything, or just there to be Shug, the guy they see on YouTube, because everybody else is a vendor or a book writer or something, and I'm just I'm like Pluto at Disney World. I just walk around doing my thing.
You're just doing your thing. Yeah.
And I just roam the grounds, and you run into people, and you know, when I get a little bit kind of sucked out energy-wise, I found there's a few little camps I can go to that are re-energized. I feel comfortable just sitting down, talking to them we've already met. Or go back up to my tarp and hammock, and then I'll notice there's always a couple of little old men standing way off, and they'll kind of mosey over. Yeah, you got to get on down to that Swanee River. I mean, now I got diverticulitis and my gallbladder, but they're just telling me all this, their health ailments and everything, and I'm just kind of sitting there having a coffee going, yeah, you're bringing me down.
Yeah.
Like, you know, how old are you, Shug? You look kind of old. I'm going, I'm 67. I'm only 55. I look older than you, but I tell you what, I got the gout. My ankles as big as a watermelon. And so I become also, too, this de facto, after I've met them, some of them want to come up individually and find me elsewhere. And it's not an energy suck, because I'm just sitting having a coffee.
Yeah.
It's usually one guy at a time.
Yep.
And it's been an interesting process after all these years to be a part of, and accepting it. It's really hard.
Yeah. So you have. It sounds like you found some peace with it. Like you are Shug the Hammock guy.
I've done my work in that world.
Influenced globally.
Touched a lot of lives
by niche thing, hammock camping.
Over something like a hammock. So
great, Shug.
When I started thinking about a trip, going, okay, I got all my chores coming up, but June is a great time to go up. This is usually, when I look back at my videos, going usually mid-June.
Yeah.
And
these bugs don't bother you, huh?
Nah.
That's cool.
I do the shun. I just shun. They go, he's no fun. He's just shunning us. I was looking for a trip. I was really looking like, what would I be excited about? I could tow to pack, but I've had a little arch problem in this foot. It's feeling really good, but I want to get my feet under control. I pulled it this winter somehow. I don't know what I did. It's just age.
Yeah.
Skiing out on the lake. And I got really excited about thinking about a canoe trip, and was, you know, looking to rent one. I said, I'm just going to contact Joe. I mean, he always says
the green machine, man.
That's
what it's for. Shug.
I know, man. You always remind me of that.
Part of that canoe.
You always remind me of that.
You are forever attached to this canoe.
Well, let me put it on up.
All right.
The
green machine.
I haven't lifted a canoe in a while here.
She rides. What's your? She just rides right up on the rack, huh?
Yeah, I just put it on the rack and lash, and then I always put a little rope on the front
You want a hand, Shug? I'm just not getting involved because
no, I
won't be here next time. You know?
I got to get my canoe groove down.
Yeah. The thing about soloing is it's soloing, you know.
I'm actually doing something interesting. I've never brought this, and a guy gave this to me 6-7 years ago because he had tons of canoe packs, and I've always brought my backpack.
Yeah. So you got like a Granite Gear Portage pack.
Yeah. So I decided to try this.
Yes. It rides so much better in the canoe.
Well, I noticed sometimes with my pack, even though mine are pretty low, they don't really hit the canoe. It was just like something to add a little excitement to it.
That's great.
Something new.
It's a beautiful. That's a beautiful Portage pack.
Yeah, give it to me for free. He's going, I have so many Portage packs. It's like me going, I have so many hammocks.
So you're going paddling for what, a week or just?
No, I'm
4 or 5 days. Damn.
Yeah, I'm coming out Sunday.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. My last canoe trip 2 years ago, I did 8 days. And I was kind of sick of myself after 8 days.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I was looking forward. The thing was, I remember being at the last 2 camps kind of going, kind of looking forward to getting home. I want to play my bass. I want to see my wife. I've got things going on, and that's a lot of time with just me.
Yep.
And, you know, I was just feeling that when you have to really honestly kind of answer, like, you know, be watching these guys like John from Lost Lakes. You know,
oh, yeah, he's great.
You know, they're doing these 20-day trips and all these, and it's like, yeah, but the other thing is I have to remember is that some of these guys, like John, it was only a couple of years ago that he decided to YouTube it full time.
Yeah.
So content becomes everything. To go give up your job and do it, which I always had a job while doing it.
Okay, yeah.
So it was never about a total income for me.
Yeah.
But like Xander, who's John's friend, they're all doing it full time now. So you have to create these adventures, like Jim Baird. And
yeah.
you have to create these big adventures and really go full time, which I'm never wanted to do. It's like it's just part of what I do.
Yep.
And that's not everything I do.
Yeah, I got you. What do you, so we're, I'm not trying to taint the jury here, but I think John, like Lost Lakes, is just like the peak channel.
Oh my God.
Me,
you know, he has become, he always was, but his videography is really good.
Yes.
Like better and better and better.
Yeah.
You know, and I always appreciate, like Jim Baird, I've always liked watching his adventures because they're like up in northern Canada. And just, I remember the first one I watched him, he's just dragging a canoe through what he thought was going to be a little inland lake, and it was empty. And I was thinking, who is this guy? I didn't even know you could do that. I didn't know that was something people did.
Right. Yeah, these hardcore things.
And John's a great philosopher and a great fisherman, and has these, the way he honors the fish and just his shots, and you know what he's going to eat. You know, it's like if you watch any canoe or backpacking channel, it's going to be walk, be joyful, they're complaining, their feet hurt, they're going to cook a good meal, they're going to go to sleep. You know, it's kind of a rinse and repeat, everybody's videos.
Yeah.
Same in the base world.
Yeah.
You know, you're going for information on a base or a lesson or trying to glom something from this video.
Yep.
And also be kind of just entertained.
Yep.
When I watch it at night, when, you know, Meg's in bed, and I'm going, I'm just going to watch something, you know, for an hour. Just going to...
Pleasant, easy, but visually just so pleasing to the eye.
Watched a kid last night, Ben Beauchamp or something like that, who just did a little, never seen him before.
Yeah.
Put himself out there with minimal gear. He's a Canadian. Most of it was his camera gear, and just relying on fish, and it was kind of cold and wet, and just sort of doing like a 4-day quasi-survival. He had 2 backpacking meals, but that was only for pure desperation, which you never ate. And I really enjoyed his video a lot.
Cool.
Like,
have you seen this? I believe I'll correct this if it's wrong, but adventure chasing. He's in Michigan in the UP. He does a lot of that type of, like, I'm out here, we're gonna, you know, catch some fish, but here's our adventure. He's got this golden retriever that's with him.
Oh yeah, I might have. You know, the thing is, once you start looking, there's so many people.
Well, I mean, and that's changed since you've been doing YouTube. The number of channels.
The number of channels and people doing stuff, you know.
What are your thoughts about that?
Well, YouTube has pushed people to do it.
Yeah.
And then I think it's just this modern day era of whether you're a TikTok person or an Instagram, of being an influencer.
Yeah.
Do you want to do long form, short form, cut your video into shorts? I think people are going to college now to become influencers. It's like a viable job.
It is.
It is.
And when does it become saturated to the point of like, we can take no more canoe camping YouTubers, no more podcasts about the Boundary Waters? Like, what's the...
I don't think, honestly, my thing is, I don't think that will get old, because I think within the camping and Boundary Waters and hammocks and backpacking world lies this inspiration.
Okay.
You know, my channel, if I had to really put it down, I tell people sometimes, I might have said it to you on a podcast, but it's worth saying again, because I need to hear it. It's just become it's almost become inspirational for people that are closer to my age. I'd say 50 and older.
Okay.
That see me camping and go, well, he looks like he's having fun. You know, if he can do it, we can do it.
Yeah. And that makes you motivated to keep doing it? Can I help you, Shug, at all?
No, I'm just...
I don't want to be...
I'm taking my time. I'm trying not to be on a huge... I don't really have a major time rush.
That's great.
Sort of trying to lash this thing on like Carl showed me up at Rockwood one time.
Yeah.
About wrapping it around the...
Yep. That's great. That baby's going nowhere.
The thwart and yoke and stuff. And then I'll do the front because I just get nervous about that.
Yep.
So you see that thing go flying off.
Yeah. The green machine can only take so much wear and tear.
That's right.
So
but you're going on a trip, buddy.
So Shug, that's interesting. I mean, I think what you're saying is like, yeah, okay, we can have a lot of them, but that's fine because they're reaching different people in different ways, and
you have to find the person you like watching.
Yes.
I was doing a drywall project upstairs in the bathroom. I busted through the ceiling because long story, but my vent pipes had frozen up in the winter, and I was smelling sewer gas in the house, and la-di-da-di-da, and I was looking for some instruction on how to do better.
Yeah.
So, I found 10 people that had all the same info, but I was going, I don't like this guy because he's yelling at me a lot.
Just too aggressive.
And I found a young lady, but I thought maybe I'm watching her for the wrong reason. I don't know. You have to search soul a little bit, right?
Yep.
And found a guy named Vancouver Carpenter.
Yeah.
He's just a Canadian guy, self-deprecating, great technique.
Yep.
How to feather it way out, feather your edges, and if you're patching a hole that big, go out here. Don't make the patch just here. You want to disappear it. And just a lot of interesting things about no wall in a house is straight. It's long, undulating moves. And even when I was done with the project, which I nailed with his techniques, I kept watching him for a month, and Meg would say, oh, you're watching your friend again. And I said, yeah, he's cocking some baseboard, but I just like him. I just like him and his content.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's interesting. I mean, when you start watching like people who are doing drywall for fun, the dude, you must have a really resonant with.
I got what I needed from him.
Yeah.
And then just enjoyed his personality on top.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's the thing with your channel, of course, Shug, or anyone's like, maybe somebody doesn't like Lost Lakes. Maybe somebody doesn't like Xander. Maybe somebody doesn't like Paddle and Portage.
People can look at Lost Lakes and go, too long. Yeah. And it's just how people find you. I think so. I think there's a personality thing in this social media deal. But, when you really start looking, the fashion people, the sexy thumbnails. Yeah. Which are a big thing. They get you in the clickbait.
Yes.
What are they trying to sell you? There's a lot of that too.
Yeah.
But I think in our camping world, people have always asked me, well, are you getting rich off YouTube? I'm going, no.
Yeah.
I said, it's always been passive income. And I said, the most I ever made at my peak, and it was a little period where I was really kind of pushing it. I went through that thing of going, put out a lot of videos, make more money. I think I got my check and it was like $1,100 or something. It was, it's not like,
this is
you're not
something.
gonna make a living on it. And then I feel like you can put out too many and
Yes.
kind of wear thin with people.
Yes.
But on the other hand, there's some people that would watch you 5 days a week. So kind of goes all ways, you know, is what I'm finding out.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, it's the same with even headlines with Paddle and Portage when we were first getting out, maybe 3-4 months into the business. And we were writing, I remember one headline was about like a bear attack in Wabakimi and some kind of fire. I forget exactly what the incidents were, but like there were 2 incidents. I included them both in the headline, and people were like, he's just doing sensationalized clickbait headlines to get you to read the story and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but that's what the story is.
That's what the story is.
That's what the story is about. Like, and then my other buddy was like, wouldn't it be good for people to go there? Like, isn't the point for your advertisers and sponsors like that people go to the page and you like, why, what, like clickbait I think has become, yeah, I can see where it gets abused if it's like just some flashy thing that doesn't actually fit the context of what either the video or the story's about. But if it is, it's like, well, that's not clickbait. It's like, it's just telling it what it is. You just can't please people sometimes, Shug.
You can't.
When you're dealing in these public worlds like YouTube and journalism and, you know, podcasts and stuff, it's like you'll never make everybody happy.
You never will. You never will. And, you know, it's like it's probably a year ago. I was doing some yoga for a little injury I had, and I was looking up on YouTube some yoga moves. Well, what happens is you start getting all these videos that are almost pretty much soft porn. You know, the girls it's a lot of under boob. It's just showing as much as you can, and they're doing yoga.
Yeah.
But
it's also like,
it's a lot of crotch shots. It's
like why
and I was kind of going, taking it right to the edge, and I'm going, okay. So, you know, doing my due diligence, I watched a few.
Yes.
And then I was kind of going, all right, okay, so we're here now. This is, you know.
Like this is what the world has become to get you to watch this video, in other words.
I guess, you know, they find a way to do it, and then you realize it all links to an OnlyFans page, and, you know, there's always an end game, right?
Okay, wow, interesting.
There's a lot of that. Almost any really sexy girl showing all the boobs, if you go up and click on About, there'll be a link to their OnlyFans. Because, you know, I think it's that thing, if you, not to get political, but if you look at jobs, you know, I'll be reading in the paper as a retired guy. Seems like there's a lot of jobs, and then on the other hand, it seems like there's no jobs, you know, depending on what you read and where you look. And I think a lot of people, doing like I've always done, you're the conductor of your own train. You're the captain of your own ship. You don't depend on anybody else other than maybe the platform putting it up like YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it may be. You know, so I think there's something to be said in that these days is I don't have to go get a job somewhere and I can do makeup videos or whatever it may be.
Yeah. And is this sustainable though? Is it sustainable that they're teaching college courses on how to be an influencer and that people are
I think it is right now.
I don't need to learn a trade. I can just be this YouTube thing.
I think right now, yes.
Wow.
I would say yes.
Fascinating.
Because, you know, absolutely. Because there's a lot of people doing it. But then there's burnout, and, you know, there's you got to be able to deal with the comments. You have to push it. You know, you got to. I didn't do this side very well.
Is that good for society that we're just watching people do stuff that we could be doing ourselves a lot of the time? And I say that as somebody who watches a lot of canoe camping and fishing YouTube
Well, I was
stuff.
just saying this, that the things that go into these hangs, these last 3 hangs, of realizing how many people I'm reaching in a field like Hammocks and just the camping world, which is not like, if you really want to make your full living, you got to be dirty. There's other ways to make your full living. Plus you got to be a YouTuber all the time, 24/7. Someone filming you, doing everything. I won't name names, but I've camped with some people that know a couple people like that. That it's just everything you do, it's going on the channel, you know. I've often said, when I realized the power of something like YouTube, going, man, you know, this can be for. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. on my
Yep,
strap.
yep.
This can be used for good, and this can be used for bad. You know, you could definitely be spouting bad thoughts to people
Yeah.
through it,
Yep.
for sure. And I look at mine and go, well, it's just a hammock channel, and people are learning how to rig their hammock and hopefully getting a little inspiration from an older man camping and having some joy in it. Though I have learned to show the sucky part of a day backpacking when, oh, you know, the day is getting long and you're not having as much fun right now. You know, it's like, okay, show that part.
Yeah.
You know, huffing and puffing, going up a hill, whatever that may be.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it kind of real.
YouTube real.
Showing the reality, because I had enough people go, we tried backpacking, not as much fun as you made it look. So I go, I need to show the harder things when I'm kind of like sort of struggling late in the day, or you know, get to the top of a hill and get that camera out, really sucking wind there a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, you know, I feel like what I'm doing is for good. It's
Yep.
teaching someone. There's some people that watch me, and like for a while, 4 or 5 years ago, I was trying to downplay my clowny antics. Some people were happy I was, and there was a lot of people going, we missed that part of you. Are you okay?
Yeah, yeah. All right,
It's
right.
just like, so it's like in showbiz, you have to kind of read your audience, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and adjust to it. So it's bringing back a little bit of that stuff, and, you know, throwing a little juggling. Lately, I end a lot of videos with a little bass playing, and I'm really into it, and it's changed my life. It's taken my vision from going here to just cocked it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I put it on the end going, because I have people now that contact, I started playing bass because you are, and it's like, I'm retired too, and I just need something to take on, because I always go, I do it because it's hard and it's music, and here's the cleanup afterwards. Playing the bass, take it off, put it in the stand, click off the the amp, and go, okay,
Yeah.
not a lot of cleanup.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a big plus for me. Painting is messy. You know, when I'm painting, you know, when I was going through a painting phase.
That's right.
And I was going, yeah, fucking painting is messy, man.
Not the base. Ooh, there's that portage pack, huh? That thing's nice.
The base, it's really nice.
Damn. You're gonna be loving that thing out there.
Yeah.
And it's gonna fit so nice in the bomber.
I think
You
it
know,
will.
just
Yeah, I was
goes
looking.
right in there.
I went back and looked at that first picture that you sent me from years ago, and you're sitting in the canoe when you were just giving me proof of life.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
yeah.
you're sitting there with yours going, oh yeah, it fits right in, man. It's gonna be great.
Nice. What's your plan for this? You gonna be kind of going lake to lake, or
The
hanging
plan
out
for
at
this,
one
Joe,
lake?
is I've studied the map.
Okay.
I kind of know the area. I'm just kind of going free. I've got a couple of routes I can take. I don't feel stressed about either one.
Yep.
I didn't want it to be, you know, go, 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 go. It may end up being, may not. Because tell you another thing about retirement or just getting older. Would you say you're a man of rituals? Your daily rituals, your way of doing.
The coffee pot comes on every morning.
Absolutely.
You know.
The most important one comes first.
And
But there is a ritual within that whole thing. I have a way I turn the lights on when I get up first and
Yeah.
crank the window. I have about probably 13 things I do while the coffee's going that I have to be ready. And that all kind of boosted as I've gotten older.
Yeah, I see. I would say yes, I am to an extent, although I will not feel off my game if I don't do it in some sort of sequence. But yes, I'm there's some ritual in my day-to-day.
I purposely
You bet.
change mine once in a while just so I don't go, am I going nuts? But I'm retired. I have the time
Yeah.
to double down and really think about my rituals. So,
But I think that I am. Yeah, sure. Yes, I got some rituals in my life. You bet.
So the thing with this trip, the intent was to sort of just step back, have fun. I've learned this lesson, Joe. The bass taught me this lesson. I've had a lot of people in my life, you know, I come off as this, you know, if you watch my videos, oh, this clowny guy, he probably doesn't have a worry in the world, you know. And that's untrue. Because I remember my mom telling me once, years ago, when she was still alive and I was home from the circus and we were having dinner, and she looked at me, she said, everybody thinks you're funny, son, but I know you're a tight ass.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
I was going, gosh, she knows me so well.
Yeah,
Like,
that's awesome.
And I am a tight ass. You know,
like fiscally, like
no, not fiscally at all. Just
yeah.
in my own,
just in your
just for myself.
core being.
The bar I set for myself and
Yeah.
the things I do and the work I want to put in on something.
Yeah, I got you.
And how serious I want to take it without people thinking I'm going too serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
My daughter does the same thing. She's just like me. You kind of want to look like a big dumbass, but in your heart, you're not. There's thought to everything.
Yeah, like when you're smoking meat, that's a whole thing.
That's serious, man. You know, but it's laid back. It's a long event.
Yeah.
You know, it goes on a while.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be definitely driving through some. I gotta redo that. Keep asking. So I guess I forgot the point of your question.
Just that you.
Oh, for the
are
intent of this trip.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, but yeah, that you're going to be kind of moving around a little bit.
A little bit.
If you want to be.
I'm going to figure
or
it
not.
out every night.
Yeah.
There's that one little lake. There's like all those little lakes at the bottom, Meat Lake and all that. There's like one side on every lake.
Yeah.
I want to do that and go up the creek.
Yeah.
But
You may or may not do that.
I may or may not. I might go right up to Cummings and go from there. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to know because I know everything I have to do at home.
Yeah.
And so, to get back, what I was saying, playing the bass, reading this book about taking up another instrument and learning it to improve my mandolin playing, it was like, be easy on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself down for every mistake you make, or you're not progressing fast enough, or you're not good enough at jazz and all that. And that's been a hard lesson in my life, to be forgiving to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this trip is a little bit of that. Like, you know, I always feel like, oh, this has to be the most amazing canoe trip I've ever done. Maybe I'll fake some sort of drama. But it's like, no, I don't have to. I just don't have to. I just let it be a beautiful, fun, nice trip, you know?
Yeah. Well, you might even find, I mean, you on your last trip, I believe it was your last one of your last few anyway, was when the young man from Wisconsin drowned on Gillis.
On Gillis, yeah.
Lester Haas.
Lester. And he was
young-
an Amish kid, about 18.
Right. Yep.
No life jacket.
The Cook County, the Gunflint Search and Rescue crew got passed down from the St. Louis County Rescue Squad underwater drone, like an underwater camera thing, and they named it Lester in honor of Lester.
Right, I saw that article.
Yeah.
And you know, and I was there, and you wrote about it in your book a little bit.
That's right. That's right.
And
yeah.
you know, it was a hot day, just hot and dry, man. That was a hot, dry summer.
Yes.
You know, and all I do is move from shade to shade all day while I'm at camp. You know,
Yeah.
when the sun moves, go get in a shady spot. So I'm hearing that float plane crank up. You know, I'm kind of looking out at the water. There's that inlet going over to over to the next lake. The Portage is there.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds like a plane. Goes taking off. Got a couple of canoes on it. All right. And here, another one's coming back.
Yep.
Taking off. Another one's coming back. And I was able to get in touch with Andy at
Tuscarora.
and he said, yeah, there's been a drowning.
Yep.
And then I saw that helicopter come in with the big basket with the Zodiac boat and
Yeah, that's
the
right.
camera, and they dropped that off.
Yep.
And it can't help but put a pall on your day.
Right.
You know, you're thinking, should I be enjoying myself?
Yeah.
And I was and wasn't, but by the next day, and you wrote it in the book, I think of it like me and you, Matthew, Hickory, we're climbing a mountain, we're going to a peak.
Yep.
And the unwritten rule is, well, if one of us slips and goes, we're kind of going, nothing we can do. We might find a chunk of him.
Yeah.
He probably would have wanted us to go on. It's like, just go ahead and try to make it.
Yep.
It's that mentality, which seems weird. I read a lot of mountain climbing books, but I get that mentality. So the next day I was going, well, there's nothing I can do. It's not the first time. I felt bad about it yesterday. I still feel bad, but I can't let it consume my trip. I have to go on.
Yeah.
And I didn't even really feel like I took any precautions going, well, I definitely don't stand up in the boat fishing.
Yeah.
I can barely do it sitting in the canoe. I feel all, what if I get a pike? How am I going to get this thing out of here?
Yeah.
I've watched enough videos. Get it under the gill. And then when you throw that thing off, it's like, so,
Yeah, you had to continue on.
you have to continue on. And it's not even something you it wasn't something I even thought about.
And nor were you really involved with it. You were a bystander in the way of, you know, I mean, we've all come across traffic accidents or some kind of
Right.
a thing, and it's not like you, I mean, you have it impacts you, but you don't not eat or something that night.
It was
or,
weird
you know
that
what I
it was
mean?
so close to me. Man, I was really watching, and it was sort of funny to watch coming from the east. There were a lot of canoes coming over to check out
Oh, sure.
what was happening. And I'm thinking, you're in the way of the flow planes.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I guess that's just curiosity. And some of them looked like maybe they were heading for that portage, but were turned around.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
I see.
And I was right there by it. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just over that next.
Yep.
And it felt weird to be that close, but it's like,
It had nothing to do with you. It's pure circumstance that you were there, so you don't need to feel, you can feel bad without having to let it overwhelm you.
and I didn't know the details at the time. I just knew someone had drowned. I didn't
Yeah.
know the age or how or.
Yeah.
But it's like how when I read the news, and I'll look at like just some of the current wars and things happening in the world. I'll look at it, you know, it just goes on and on and on. I try to feel some empathy for it, and I move on. I'm just waiting to get to the comics.
Yep.
You know, and then I get to the sports, going, it's all the sports I don't like, basketball and hockey. I don't know. I want football. You know, I want motorsports.
Yeah.
And it's just having a little empathy about it, and just going, I could send money somewhere. You know, when there's a disaster, but it's like at least taking a moment to regard it and wonder and go. I say this to Meg all the time. You know, she'll come back from her studio at night sometimes and drop her bags going, everybody was just driving me crazy today. And I go, you know what, Meg? We didn't have any drones dropping on our house. Nothing was blowing up around us. There was no gunfire. We weren't robbed.
Yeah.
We had a good day. And I think we can enjoy that and feel lucky about it. And I think most of the world is, but we tend to get like what's happening in California right now. And I'll just go back to like the Rodney King thing. I remember that.
Of course, yeah.
And when you're reading the news, you think it's the whole state, the whole city of Los Angeles. But when you really look, you go, it's kind of a 3-4 block area.
Yeah.
So that always makes me, and I don't want this to sound bad, where I go, whew, it's not the whole state. It's a small area that's having a horrible time right now. You know, it's like the George Floyd.
Yeah.
It's like so many things.
Which is how you and I, one of the first times I think you heard my voice.
Yeah, I was driving around going camping. I was looking for a place, and I was listening to you that day. You were
on the radio.
WTIP, and
Yeah.
you were waiting to give the verdict, and it was kind of late. And you know, you kept coming on, and
Yeah.
you were doing it in such a, what I would go, a newsman's voice, and you weren't judgmental. You can't show your side really. You're laying out the information. And I just thought that was something going. And then I heard it, and I was going Jeep camping. It was the first time the Jeep was new to me, and I had a hammock rack for the back, and I was just exploring all these lakes that had little campsites where fishermen camp a lot, where you just drive up.
Okay.
So I thought that was really interesting, and we had never even met yet, but I'd done a podcast with you.
Okay. Okay.
So let me ask you something.
All
You
right.
could take this out or not. I was thinking about it on the way up.
Yeah.
So when you were at WTIP,
Yeah.
and you're the news director,
Yep.
and then you gave it up to go and start your own thing. Were you just kind of done with that? Was it hard to read the news? Were you just ready for a change? Was it management? And you don't have to tell me if you don't want.
Yeah. Right. It was a culmination of a variety of things, really. The podcast, the Boundary Waters podcast, right? I mean, we've been doing it for about 7 years at that point, was by far what I was most passionate about at that stage.
Right.
I think after COVID, and like I was one of the only few people allowed in the building at the radio, and I was there a lot and doing just a continuous healthcare stuff.
That's where we did our first one. I know you were in the station.
Yeah, those couple of years, it was kind of like coming out of that, I was just like, man, I don't want to watch this county board meeting anymore and analyze it and do the interview and to fill the airtime with it. And it's like coming up on 10 years, and I really love the Boundary Waters podcast and this whole thing. And the book was coming out that year, you know, in 24. And it was just kind of like this thing coming together of like, if ever you're going to take a shot at this, this might be the time. Maybe it'll work and maybe it won't, but go for it is what my gut was
It's a gut
me.
check. When you get those moments, like when I was leaving Ringling, And Meg was going to leave. It was my 3rd year. I'd served my apprenticeship. I could have stayed on another year. It was the perfect place to be a drunken hooligan clown, just doing nothing but being a clown 24/7.
Yeah.
And I had to gut check it going, well, I love this woman. If she's leaving, I got to go. And even what I was telling you earlier about the state fair when COVID hit, when all my work went away, I'm going, now is the time to make a switch, or things are going to come back and I won't because I'm such a people pleaser. I have the people pleasing disease. And I've been telling people lately, I'm going, yeah, I'm a people pleaser. I wish I had a little light criminal element in me, like the scammers or something, but I don't possess that.
Yeah.
I just don't have that in me. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But that's how I joke to people. I tell them at parties, and I'm going, no, I always want to do, when you're in show business, you have to please your audience, you got to please the agent, you got to please the theater owner, the client, whatever. So that was a gut check for me. So you went through the same thing of like, what is it I really want to do and I can't think about the money or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah, so that part of it, and then it was interesting because of a lot of last year I found I had a hard time letting go of the local news. It was like I knew so much stuff, and I would see things that weren't getting reported, and I was getting all agitated about that, and then like getting back in the news and weaving in and out and trying to do P&P, and it's like, well, what are you? What are you doing here? And pissing people off with some of the news stuff because, you know, it's unflattering sometimes. Just all this stuff that it was sort of a tumultuous thing. And now it's like P&P, ah, yes,
well,
this is what I'm doing, and this feels good, and we're working, and it's expanding, and it's like, ah.
You can't just step out of that station, close the door, and go, it's done. People, I'm sure there's some people that can. I was asking my brother-in-law, Kevin, who is an engineer and works at a big firm, but he's more management. And I said, Kevin, so I was asking him, like, when you retire, what you have a thing in mind that it's going to cost you money? And he goes, I want to build a yurt. And I go, what? I want to process the wood. I want to do all that. I said, well, you're going to have to get some land somewhere. I am, but that's what I want to do. So I said, so the day you retire, is it going to be sad, or is it, do you want a party? He's going, I don't want a party. I'm just going to leave everything in my office, close the door, and walk away.
Wow.
So me being a retired guy, you always heard that thing like, hey, man, you'll love retirement. Every day's Saturday. And I always go, Saturdays were my work days. Monday is my Saturday. But it's not. So it's not. It depends on the person.
Yes, and I had a hard time with it.
You must kind of, and same with me. I didn't miss doing my show per se, or even circus. But there's a time of kind of going, I've got to. You know, I'm still feeling the pull. You know, people are trying to pull me back into it. People are reaching out for gigs, and I almost say yes to them, and I go, no, I'm not using that muscle right now. I could certainly come do a show, but once I do that, I'm back in the game. It's like The Godfather. The minute I get out, they pull me back in. And I'm going, I will not be pulled back in. And it's the story of the guy that retires from a corporate job or any manufacturing job. Retires for a couple months, is bored, goes back to work. They bring him back as kind of a consultant. But because he's a boomer, he ends up doing everybody's job. And they're not paying him what they were when he was there, or maybe what he deserves, and then bitterness creeps into the thing, and you leave the second time with really bad feelings.
I got it.
Hear that story over and over. But that pull, that you're still in the current, and you're kicking backwards until they break it and just go, whoa.
I'm feeling a lot more like that phase right now with Paddle and Portage and my own life, and just in general, where last year it was of my own doings, it didn't feel like that. So it was a very interesting sort of exodus, I guess I would describe it as, but feeling good now. You know?
Well, it is. And you're how old?
42.
You're 42 and I'm 67. That's kind of a lot of years. But you know, you have these points. You know, my friend Charlie Zelli, they were some of Meg's biggest benefactors, and she always coached her son. He was the big transportation guy here in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
Seen him on the news a lot. Guthrie board and everything. He was over at the house once and he said, I don't know if I invented it, but there's kind of a 7-year thing, you know. You turn 7 years old, you know, you're old enough to enjoy your birthday and play with your toys. You get to 14, you're a teenager, you're riding your bike around. Another 7 years, you're 21. You're probably in college or just getting out. You're figuring out what you're gonna do. Another 7 years, you're 28. All right. Now it's like you're doing something and you're starting to look going, is this it, or am I not doing anything and I need to get my game on?
Uh-huh.
You go another 7, what does that bring you to? 34?
35.
35?
Yeah, somewhere, yeah.
Whatever it is you're doing, you're
34.
embedded in it. And this is where you make your first big, like, okay, I'm in show, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I need to put more into this. That may happen at 28, but so there's just these, you keep hitting these periods in life where you can continue to go down the same old road, and there is nothing wrong with that. There's security in that. But what is secure anymore? You know, they change the company, they change owners, you're out because they want to bring in their people. That can happen overnight. You know, so there's no guarantee. So it's kind of like, I'm going to step out, and it's scary, but I've always made a buck. I've always pretty much succeeded. I'll do okay, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the point. And some people don't want to do that, and some people do. And you know, you can step out and really kind of want running back, like, you know, Michael Jordan. It's like anybody that leaves and comes back, they're never as good.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
Because you know their heart's not in it the same way.
Yep.
And you know, and it's just not.
Yep.
So, and I'm still there in retirement. You know, it's like thinking of, should I be doing something else? You know, I was rushing with this memoir thing. Like, here's how my mind was going, okay, if I really get this memoir done, I've got my YouTube audience, they would certainly buy it. And I'm thinking the wrong way. I'm thinking about how it's going to sell. And I'm going, no, because then that's rushing it. And then how do I know they're going to buy it? And I don't know if I'd self-publish, or I would rather send this to publishers and see if it's worth getting done, but prepared for rejection over and over, you know. But so if I put this date on it, it's going to be hard because it's writing. And you know, it's like I'm going to overwrite it and then cut it down like a YouTube video. So I've just stepped back from that and go, be kind, don't put a date on it. Just enjoy it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Instead of trying to rush it to get in hands, but I better do it while I still have a YouTube channel. And that sucks the fun out of it.
Yep.
And maybe some people will go, well, you're missing an opportunity. I'm going, it worries me, you know.
Yeah.
It's going to be like even the day that I come on YouTube and go, well, everybody, this is it. I'm not going to do, I've done everything I can in the hammock world. It'll be here in perpetuity. It's like some of the stuff I did 12 years ago, it's still valid.
Yeah, sure.
I'm younger, the process hasn't changed. You can still watch it. But I'm going to go start another channel for a while and not care about it, just telling circus stories or whatever.
Or maybe not even do that. Did you see that guy Luke with the Outdoor Boys channel did that?
Yeah, he just did. And I'd never watched him, and I had just watched one of his videos making a snow cave in Alaska, and then I read that he's stepping away because of his kids and everything.
And the fame and the attention and the people coming up to him at the airports and his family, and he was just like, I started this as like kind of a nerdy dad going camping, and it turned into something, 14 million subscribers or whatever it is. Like, I can't handle this. And I'm out of here.
Do you mind if I smoke a little cigar while we're talking?
Do it.
You cut that out when I asked that. No, it's a camping cigar. You know, it's like...
Smoke it up, but keep the bugs away too, huh?
No, I like to tell people, I said, look, I will smoke socially.
Yeah.
At a party or something. I said, when I'm camping, sometimes I just want a cigar.
Yeah.
So when I'm setting up, before I even set up my hammock, like half, and I'll save half. But I had a really interesting talk. This is on the subject of smoking.
This is like the second time we just had the St. Louis County Rescue guy on smoking a cigar right up here at the campfire, or at the fire ring.
Somewhere smoking got worse than war, as far as a thing that, that's a horrible habit and this and that. And I'm going, what if I said it's for my mental health? That valid? No. Well, what about all your kids are vaping, everybody else, like everybody has their mental health thing. I don't drink, I don't do anything else.
Yeah.
So Christmas this year, we're at Meg's mom's house, and I had a few little Al Capone cigars, and my nephew Oliver was there, and his art college roommate was there. His name was Han. Big black beard. You know, I looked at him, I said, he has an ethnic background I'd like to figure out. That's one of my hobbies. Instead of just going asking somebody, I'm gonna throw some things out.
Yep.
And I had my cigar in my hand. I saw him staring at it, and he had like 2 vapes. Just he's a vapor.
Yeah.
I said, come on, hon, I'm going outside to smoke this. Come with me. Look, I'll give you a cigar. So I gave him a cigar. We're talking. There's 2 guys talking. We just met.
Yep. Yep. Smoking these Al Capone things? Yeah.
And I was saying, I was talking about Christmas and my religious thoughts, going, as I've retired, I'm way more interested in theology. Not Catholicism, how I was raised so much, but the full theology.
Yep.
The interest in gods and deities and all this stuff worldwide.
Yep.
And I said, it always confused me in the Catholic Church that we had a picture of Jesus, but we never had a picture of God. And some people say they're one and the same, but I'm going, my understanding is they're not.
He's the kid or whatever.
Yeah, and I always joke saying, I would feel like God looked like Robert Duvall.
Sure.
Jesus has got the long hair.
Yeah.
He looks like he's bald.
Yeah.
Like Robert Duvall talks to you like that. The joke, I need you to get out there and just get that done. Yeah. And so I said, so what's your religion thing? He's going, well, I'm very bad at it, but my parents is Islam. And I was going, who's your God again? He says, Allah. I said, oh yeah, Allah. We talked about it a minute, and I said, is there a picture of Allah? And I was doing this on purpose. Oh, he was going, oh, no, there is no representation of Allah. And I went, oh, that's what that whole McAllister college kerfuffle was about a couple of years ago.
Oh.
And it was in the paper. Some professor had shown AI images of Allah in this class, and it got her fired.
Wow.
And it was in the paper a lot. So I'm reading an article that's like way too long, trying to get to the high points. But that night, just having a cigar, talking to him, was just like, you go to the source and you get it from someone from that religion,
Yep.
tells you, and I went, case closed. Now I understand it.
Yep.
I
Yep.
understand it.
Wow.
And it was just like, it was because we were stepping outside of a big family party, having a social moment. Like
Yeah.
two guys having an espresso at a bar. Not to go, doppio espresso, por favor. Yeah, do it. And we have our little espressos, we talk, maybe you work somewhere else, we just connect for 10 minutes
Yep.
about
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
And you walk away going, all right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think that's valid,
Yeah.
but not with smoking.
So is it more as we get more people living on YouTube and Instagram and that lack of 10-minute espresso connection, that becomes a more distant thing? See, that's the thing where I was saying, like, is this good for the world that everybody's trying to create a channel
Well,
and or a social media thing?
The thing is, and I'll say this, you know, and because of these 3 hangs I went to, and I've gone to the little smaller Minnesota, Wisconsin hangs, I put myself out there into the big world. Because I met AJ and Paul in Denmark, like I said, who run the big Florida one. HangCon's been going on a while.
Yep.
Years ago, when 2 other people run it, they invited me to fly me down. Shug, you can take center ring. Well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to come do my show, my
Yeah.
juggling show, and I just want to come be a hammock camper. I just want to come hang. I said, no, if I ever come down, I'll come on my own dime. But
Yeah.
I met those guys in Denmark, and I said, I'm coming to HangCon, and you don't have to hide it. Put me on the ad. I don't care.
Yeah.
Put myself out there.
Uh-huh.
Because when you do YouTube, and maybe you know this from doing radio and doing your podcast, and it's maybe our nature a little bit, you can make this great connection with humanity cyberly without meeting them, or having to have lunch with them, or do anything with them. But I mean, there's certain cases like how you and I met. I've met a lot of people, but for the most part, it's like me doing a show at the state fair. 1,500 people out there on a big Saturday. I'm having this huge connection. I'm up on stage by myself. Show's over. Meet and greet a little bit. Do selfies for 10 minutes. Boom. I'm back in my dressing room by myself. Changed out, sitting in front of a fan going, this is my favorite moment.
Yeah.
All by myself. But I just had this great exchange with humanity.
Mm.
Well, lump in my YouTube career going, I've been doing a lot of that. And I think, like I would say more for the younger people now, who are more, their social strata is through their phone at school and everything, you know.
Yep.
Bullying is on the phones. It's not somebody coming up punching you. It's words and people tagging on and
Which hurts.
incels, you know, just shaming boys and just all this stuff. So it's like, I think, yes, in one sense, and I pray for it all the time, and I literally do say a prayer for this one, and I think it'll happen, and I see it happening because there was just an article in the Strip about a bunch of boys at a high school. When they have lunch, they take their earbuds and their phones, pile them on the table, and for lunch, they don't look or talk to them. And I go, that's hope right there. Because I think it's like everything. You had the hippies, you had the yippies, the yuppies. It just always cycles. And I think the need to have a face-to-face and talk and connect, whether over a game or whatever, but right here, I think it will return.
Cool.
But I do think these social medias, you get caught up in being a lone person that has this audience. And it is the nature of today, but then I've experienced it too, where I'm going, I need to go meet real people too.
Yeah, take that from the channel to the event, to the street, so to say. I mean, you're going to meet somebody on this Boundary Waters trip that's going to know you.
I always run into somebody.
Yeah, so probably multiple people. I mean, most people probably. How do you handle those when people want to get a?
Oh, I love it. You know, it's
cool.
easy. I mean, it's not like roofing in Florida. It's usually somebody goes, "You a hammock guy?"
Yeah.
I go, "Do you like the hammock guy?" Yeah, we like the hammock guy. Then I'm the hammock guy, and we just talk for a minute. You know, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. It happens in Home Depot parking lot.
Oh, cool.
I'll run in the car, give them a Shug sticker, and they'll go, "Could we do a selfie?" Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I was scared you weren't, and that's it. It's like it's not hard.
Cool.
It's just. You kind of made someone's day. They made my day. We just had a little moment in a parking lot, or, you know, I ran into a guy who was an entertainer. He was out fishing, and I was going, God, that looks like Dave Malmberg. That was that time I was on Horseshoe Lake the last night. God, sounds like him, but he wouldn't be out here. And then I ran into him at a G.L. Berg agent party, one of the last ones I went after I retired. You know, one final one, and then I'm just going to not see anybody. And we were both out there. I went, were you on a boat with a blonde hair? He goes, yes, at Horseshoe Lake. He said, was that you fishing? I was trying to catch fish out there, but really I'm just trying to cast and get near the lily pads or the weeds.
Yeah.
It's more of an accuracy contest than actual fishing.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk, but I've been going for years. So it was a weird way of meeting. In the aftermath, we realized there we were.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I think... And I'll tell you this, most people I found, and I'm going to say, I think, knowing you for a few times now, and being with you and Matthew once, and he kind of alluded to it, that I'm a spirited introvert, and I think most YouTubers, in their heart, are introverts. And you can have this cyber connection with people, reading your comments, doing your footage, whatever it is that floats your boat, but everybody reads their comments, come on. They might not answer them. That's how you get an interaction.
Yeah.
And that's what I've noticed. Most are kind of introverted people, and this is a way to sort of express.
But so I'm actually pitching this as an article to some national magazines right now, is that this YouTube phenomenon, like what we saw with Luke and wanting to quit, and these introverts that now become these public personas and these sort of celebrity type
Most
individuals.
actors are the same way.
Is that like how the mental health side of that is starting to, as YouTube grows and grows and grows, and that pressure to create, and Shug, where's your video? Come on, man, I'm waiting. Well, John up at Lost Lakes, where's your video? Luke, dude, I need a video, you know? And that's just like this pressure, and people are either dropping out or just like
it is some pressure. Yeah, you put pressure on yourself with it. Like, you know, I always get the thing if I haven't camped, I'm like, hey, Shug, I hope everything's okay. Hope your health's good. Looking forward to the next video. And that's them going, when's it coming?
Right.
You know, and...
that's a new thing. That is a new phenomenon in society.
But they like your stuff, and they have a way to kind of get to you, especially if they know you read comments. It's a caring way of putting it.
It is. You know? It is to an extent. But where is that line between the fan and the pressure from the people who want, you know,
here's what happened at Hancom, Florida. So it's the last day, right?
Yeah.
And they have this... Chino, who's this guy, you know, he's a former Marine, he works as a cop, and he's down there as their security, but he's very hands-on. It's a trouble-free, and I was telling him, so a lot of rowdy hammock hangers, he's going, Shug, oh no.
Yeah.
And he came to me the last day and wanted to get a picture and a sticker, which I was kind of honored because...
Cool.
And there's this girl that was there, I didn't know who she was, dressed all in black, she's kind of leaning like this, butchy, punky haircut, a lot of piercings, and I was just going, yeah, man, all I do is, like, it's hard to hear compliments all day. I was telling him what I told you. It gets hard. I have to learn to, like, treat everybody the same. Let them say what they want to say. And I said, if only somebody would just come take me down. And she kind of went, yeah, I think you're an asshole. And I went, thank you. That's what you need. But then her and I opened it. She was just listening.
Yeah.
She was always listening. And then she was the sweetest girl in the world that runs these motorcycle tours, but looks like a hard ass.
Yeah. Why did she say that? Just to
because she was listening to the conversation. She was playing my game. I was just need somebody to take me down, like a good friend will go, seriously, man, you're going to wear that out? You know, come on, you've gotten too big for your britches. So you need that person.
Yeah. And she became that.
And then we talked for a long time.
Yeah,
so
cool.
she was listening and playing the game with it. But yeah, it's very interesting. You know, I've often said the whole YouTube thing has been like a big social experiment. in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
The people that stick with you from the beginning, that just comment on every video of another good one, you know, just something like that, and I always go, woo buddy.
Yeah.
I answer everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's just like talking to people after a show. Somebody come and go, hey, enjoyed your show. And I go, hey, thanks, but don't run away. And then I just chase them, just have a 20-second interaction.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
people that you're taking pictures with. It's like, if you pay attention to them, just like paying attention to your viewers or your podcast listeners or anybody, they'll like you because you paid attention for a second and you weren't this jerk. And I know when I go to these hangs, there's a lot of people going, I want to see if Shug's like he really is.
Yeah.
Or if it's some kind of jerk, you know.
Yeah.
And I had so many people, this is what I was hearing in Florida by day 2 or 3. Well, you know, we met Shug, but we got to know Shawn, which is a great thing because I can bring it down a little bit while I'm there. I've already met the people, the thrill is gone, now we keep running into each other.
Yep.
And at night, rather than go sit with the friends I had there, I started just go sit with a group of strangers that I met earlier in the day and just sit with them.
Yeah.
Instead of just always going to the comfort zone.
I like that interaction you had with that family, with the young kids.
Oh
down
man,
there
that
in
was
Florida.
like and I was trying to sneak up and go crash out.
Uh-huh.
And I saw them looking at me. That was like, it just re-energized me
that
so
was,
much.
That's such a beautiful, authentic moment down there amidst all of it.
Then they called their Coco Medagliadoro. Like they knew everything.
They did.
It was really good. And then we were able to give them the hammock. Mr. Mock said, yeah, we'll give them a hammock. And that was just one of those moments I was telling people about. I said, it just put so much energy into me. And I sat down with them for like 45 minutes and talked. And they were just really good. The yes, sir, yes, ma'am kids. And I was going, listen, just call me mister. And they all tried. They did it once and they can't. They have to say sir.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right. I saw that. I saw that.
So
You got a paddle? Oh, yeah.
I get the, I got a bending birches. And then I've got a
Bendy branches.
bendy branches. Yeah. And then I got one of these, which
nice.
I used it. Actually,
Yeah.
actually, that's really good in the wind, those
The
kayaks.
kayak paddle, yeah.
I
I know. I need to.
I found you don't have to think
58, yeah.
the stroking sometimes.
Yeah.
When it's windy, I have to give it a lot of thought sometimes
Yeah.
into what I'm doing, J-stroking
Yeah.
and pulling. And
Not with that bad boy.
You don't. You just...
It's a nice way to go. I fish a lot, so I'm kind of just like having this.
Right,
I only use a bench shaft.
Yeah, they're not good for like steering around or you get in a narrow
Exactly.
creek, but I found...
No, but I've been wanting one, I guess.
In the
I'm
wind,
thinking more
you can
about
really
getting
stay on
one.
track.
Or do you latch it in, lash it into the, when you're portaging, do you have little ties
I
and
do.
stuff?
I have to. Thing is, even on this one, I'm going, okay, I'm going to have to relearn my portage. Got a new pack, but I get the little ties, and this one I usually lash into the canoe, carry the paddle when I do my double carry or whatever.
So do you carry it all in one go? I mean, because you got just this bag, right?
I might try. You know, I know the
it.
first one is like a mile portage, but
I think you're up for a single portage, man.
I think
You've
so, too.
evolved.
At least by day 3.
Yeah.
And I got a little food bag that I could still put in there. I was thinking wearing the food on the front and that and just trying it. But,
Oh, okay. So there is a secondary kind of
yeah,
bag,
it's just,
basically.
but I've still got a ton of room I could put in here. I got the whole sleeve, so
Yep.
it takes me a couple of days, like when I get to a portage, to have it all. Okay, the fishing rod's got some Velcro ties. I use these kind of things for the paddle, like some of these sort of things.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I can just twist
Those
it
are great.
in,
Yes.
bop.
Bam, bam. You know, that's the best thing about this canoe, which I got from Sawbill Canoe Outfitters years ago now, is that the yoke is permanent. It's in there.
I like that.
It's not the clip, you got to twist, tie it in there every time. Well, now I got to take it out. Oh, shit, it was only like a short little lake. Now I'm portaging again.
When I had that Kevlar, that Magic, the North Star Magic, I had to, clip that thing on. I got really good at it. You get really fast.
Well, shit, and people leave the yoke behind, that's a common thing, and then you either got to go back for it, or if you've just paddled some big lake, then what do? You got to go all the way back. Like, this thing is a dream canoe, Shug.
I just like it.
The green bomber, dude.
I like it. I like the color. I like the way it looks. It's unassuming. It does the job. It's stable.
Well, and it's Royalex. You can beat the hell out of it.
It's not heavy.
Yeah.
But it'll take me 2 days to kind of figure out my portage scheme again, get everything out, okay. And then last time I started taking the canoe first and everything. All right, because it was that Kevlar. No, it was yours. The second time I went, okay, told me don't have to load this in the water, which I usually do with that too. I don't drag it over a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But it takes me a couple of days because it's not like backpacking to get my little assembly, how I'm tying everything in.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is with this, like with my map and everything, it's got these big pocket there. So I can throw those things in. They're usually dangling behind me.
Yep.
I've got my
yeah, this
little,
is a nice pack.
I strap my little fat butt seat. This thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I get a little back support, but I just leave that in.
You keep it on when you portage? Yeah.
Yeah, I just leave it on at camp too. I've got a,
oh, okay, I see.
I got a camp chair, but
Oh, I see. Yeah. It's once that thing clips on, it's not coming
I just
off.
leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. You're gonna have a great trip.
Yeah, and then I always pull the canoe up on shore, turn it upside down, and I even brought a little small auxiliary tarp this time so I don't have to dodge the shade because sometimes my hammock's back a little bit and I kind of want to sit out, really just
see the lake and everything.
Yeah, see the lake. And,
maybe cut down a few live trees.
yeah, some live trees. I was watching, I think last night, there's a girl, she's from up here, Jody Mittenhoff.
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah.
And she's got a bunch of solo canoes, and I'm just checking out other people's ways of camping. And I was really watching, going, a couple that went to Crab Lake. So I was kind of seeing how they went across Burnside, just see what it looked like. And they just kind of went, husband and wife, and he's taking a nap with the eye shades. They've got a hammock strung up. She's reading a book. Like, they just go and chill. No fishing. They just swam.
Yeah.
And I'm going, this one I'm just going to go be.
Cool.
But if I decide not to and just like get it on, I'll do that too. So I don't have to just telling myself just
no agenda.
No real agenda. No real agenda other than have
man.
a good time and shoot a. The other thing I was thinking, I've gotten a little lazy with my filming. And I was just watching one of John's. It was a pretty long one he did. And I'm gonna get a few more John shots, even though I don't have his camera rig with all the like.
Just slow it down and get some of the flowers on the lake shallows.
Well, I always do, but I'm just gonna do a little bit more, like, be a little bit more vigilant this time. And because I shoot everything with this and a GoPro. I don't have a big expensive rig. I'll put the little tripod in and have that in there. And sometimes it's just remembering. You have to, when you film trips, you have to remember to film.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes, like when I'm with people, it's just like, I don't want to. I just want to be in this moment.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like with you. I asked you once when you and Matthew, before you went full time with it, I said, do you always do a podcast? You went, yeah, because we're out there to do it. But even when we did Whiskey Jack, I noticed we stop and have a chat, get it out, and get a moment. Because if you don't, then you've got nothing.
Right.
But even if I film half as much as I think I should, I still have plenty of footage because I'm trying to make my videos a little bit shorter nowadays.
You are, huh?
A little bit, you know, like if I do this one all in one, I hope it's a 40, 45 minute. I'm cutting more stuff out, just trying to not film as much preamble.
What's the intention?
It's less for me to edit and go through. And I think people, I do look at some of the watch times. Like if I do a part 2 or part 3, part 1 will get a lot of views, part 2 will get half of those, and part 3 will get half of the half.
Yeah, that's what Aaron from Lost Lake, John and Aaron, you know, she told us that. That's why they did them as one.
Just go as one because they're already sucked in then, and they might just
and they can come back and most computers remember where you left off.
Yeah, or just watch, you know, they watch 30 minutes off and go, that's enough, I got it. They're eating, they're paddling, they're fishing.
Yeah.
They're eating, they're paddling, they're in a hot tent, and then ice fishing, and then it's sort of the same thing.
Which is why, like, the teaser at the beginning has to show the caribou.
Right, yeah,
you gotta be like, oh, that's in here.
Yeah, you ran into the thing.
Yeah.
It was like when I had my big moose moment 2 years ago. It was like, oh, what? And you're missing link. There's this big bull moose, like, right, like, from here to your woodshed there. And I was just sitting there in this little narrows going over from Missing Link Lake.
Snipe?
No, Snipe Lake over to the next one, heading east. And he's looking at me like, we're good. We're good. And I'm thinking the whole time, how fast can I back this thing up if I need to? Like, but it was just for like 20 minutes, just having a moose moment, just like, wow.
Nice. Yeah, I just had one of those up the Gunflint the other day. After the Gunflint cleanup thing, we're coming back and big bull Shug and velvet, and he's eating.
It's never not special,
the body, and just like the whole. Yeah, it's so special.
Well, you know, this is what I love about when you write to me about fishing. You sent me, I don't know, I think it was last year. You had caught a bunch. I don't know if you guys went early in the summer or late spring or whatever. You caught a bunch of walleye, and just like it's like watching John or the Baird brothers or anybody catch their fish. Every time is like the first time they caught one. Every time a fisherman catches a fish, it's like the first time they caught a fish. There's like this joy in it. Like every time where John has his very particular way of getting his hands wet and releasing it and thanking, and you know, Jim Bear just throws them off the side, but they're trying to decide what they're gonna keep and eat, which was really nice watching this kid, this Ben Beauchamp or whatever
The
his name was.
survival guy or whatever he's trying to do.
Put himself, he was in this one lake and he just kept catching these pike that were huge. But morally, he couldn't let himself keep it. He said, it's just too much meat for me.
It's like the kid up at Chris McCandless that shoots the moose and then he can't eat but like a fraction of it, and he feels terrible and all that.
So he just kept fishing. He said, well, there's pike everywhere. So then he caught one that was about that big, and he caught it. But the night before, he had gotten like, he was cutting through some beaver dam, and there were like 7 little shiners stuck. So he found some bait, and he caught like 6 or 7 little perch for his dinner. And he was eating those, kind of cooked them on a stick.
No kidding.
And they were delicious. When he was eating the pike the next night, going, the pike's not that tasty. It sort of tastes like mucky mud, but it's feeling, I need food. But he said those perch were delicious.
Interesting, that's cool.
Yeah.
I noticed that you said early and then didn't do the Shug early thing.
I don't always in person.
But that has seeped into
and that's Hicks's thing, but we always did it. But if
that's become a thing, you know, like in my circle, like Kevin K-Man, who you met last summer outside the bookstore and stuff, you know. And
he was a great guy, by the way. I really liked him.
My other buddy
and his wife,
Amber.
And
great Josh Dix, my other buddy. Like when we say early in conversation, we follow it up.
It's
with
catchy.
An early. It is.
Some guy told me he was
into society.
He gave me a comment. He said, I was at a meeting at work, and someone said, so we're all going to get it early. And he went, early! And everybody looked at him like, what the?
It's either you know or you know.
Sometimes I say them and don't realize, and there's a woman named Ola Anderson, and she'll count and tell me the earlies I missed. So I always write back going, you know, I like to leave a few just for you.
Yeah.
And she was also the one that told me once, she's Italian or Swedish, she said, it's not the Medagliadoro like you say, it's Medaglia. You don't pronounce the G. So I started saying Medagliadoro, and then I get people, I miss it when you say Medaglia.
Yeah.
So now I split it half and half. It's like, even on this trip, I'll say portage, and I'll say portage.
Yeah, right.
And
for our Canadian friends.
And what's the other one I got last time? Notage or shortage or... It's like the one you say where you just have to get out and you're going from here to the canoe, basically. But you still got to get everything out and take it. Shortage. It's what people notice. You know, if I shoot a video out of my nut hut, there's people that will see my clock time. Like maybe it wasn't chronological, but they're always looking around behind me. Like, what are those airplanes? Wow. Or as you're finishing that painting, like they're looking.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
It's fun to do, you know. It's like fun to see what they watch. Like less of me and
what
more
they're
about,
seeing,
you know.
Wow.
I've been shooting up in Ariel's bedroom lately for podcasts and stuff because I've got my amp up there, and unless she comes home to visit, I move everything. And people, did you get a new shed? Did you guys move? And well, no, it's just a room I've never filmed in, but I can go upstairs and not bother Meg.
Yep.
And sometimes my nut hut can be overwhelming if I've got too many projects going. I don't even want to go out there and do anything right now because I'm going to get drawn into it.
Yep.
So I'll just go up in this room and do it, and you know, I'm right inside.
Yep.
And trying not to burn the heat as much this winter, which is why I want to thank you for loaning me this, because I was going to rent one from Paragus or wherever.
Yeah. And this is yours to take.
I know, and I don't want to, and I know you mean that, so you know, I have to just. I said I'm going to reach out to Joe because it's $45 a day. You know, I'm a retired man, and we're getting a whole new boiler in the house. Tuesday came in. You know, ours is given 41 years of service, so that's $9,000. But you know, I was telling Meg, I said, look, we had a big, huge house plumbing thing once, and that was $10,000. And for 2 days, you're just depressed. But you have the money, you know, and then it's behind you.
Yes.
You know, it's just like one of those. Money does that to you sometimes. Like, just gets you in a tizzy, and then you realize, 2 days later, like, I've never not been able to pay for anything. It's just maybe we just got to not do this or this for a month or so.
This canoe, not only is there that side of it, it's also becoming part. Like you're associated with this canoe. You've had experiences with it. You're seemingly comfortable in it.
I want to make it a bit more of a character on this video. I mean, I was already thinking, you know, I'm always thinking like, okay, one thing I want to tell, one of my morning talks, I said, I've become kind of a retirement consultant to people. And one of the things I'm telling people that no one knows, I never knew this. I don't know if it slipped by me, but when you get Medicare, when you get 65 and you get Medicare, people go, Medicare's free. I'm going, oh, it's not. It comes out of your Social Security. So my Social Security, I took it at 62, but I get $184 out of that every month. Pays for my Medicare, even though I have an Advantage plan that's 96. But Meg and I used to pay $670 a month a piece when we were independent contractors.
Yep.
So the woman was going, you sure you want to pay 96? I go, oh God, yes. Oh yeah, we get the gym membership and everything, and Meg likes that.
Yeah.
So I'm realizing how many people don't know that. You know, they just assume, and it's like, no one tells you that one, that it's not free. You have to pay for it. Meg's having to pay right now because you hit an age, and she's not retired, she's not taking her Social Security, so she pays this, she still has to pay because she's getting Medicare out of her pocket. Until she's sunsetting now with her circus studio. Like maybe in 2 years, she's passing it over to one of her coaches that wants it. Because Meg just told me, she said, I kind of envious of your retirement. She just told me one day, she said, I'm just tired. And you know, that's what happens in retirement. You go, I'm just tired. I'm just tired of this. I don't hate it. I'm just tired. And she doesn't like that. She's 67 too, or will be in August. And she can't get up on the equipment and demonstrate anymore. She's had too many injuries, and she hates that she can't do that. It'd be like you running Portage and Paddle, but you don't ever get to go on the trips. You're just home telling everybody. It's like, just a facilitator. And it takes some sort of joy away. So but they've already got a decision. Meg will probably stay on as a consultant for 2 years because, you know, like I go to the board meetings as I'm on the board, and I just I said, none of you people see what Meg does at home. You know, she's Zelias Aerial Arts 24/7. She's answering emails, she's handling the lease, dealing with parents, dealing with adults, and she told me this thing, which you can leave in or not. She came back and she said, honey, I don't know if it was, she said, I think the kids are just feeling the PTSD of COVID, because she said, I've never had needier teenagers right now. They're just, you know, I have to coddle them. You know, they'll be in class and go, I just don't have the bandwidth to go up right now. I just need to go outside and be alone. And, you know, and Meg's kind of coaches like a Russian. You know, she learned from Russians, and it's like she's going to slap feet and give you a lot of love. And if you're yawning, you're coming down. Like, she's had to learn to go, takes everything I have to deal with some of these kids, but I'm taking away from the kids that want to learn right there. You know, it's that thing.
Sure.
And she said it's kind of sucking some of the fun out of it. And the adults are the same way. Though she has the adults too that'll sign up for one of her sessions. They'll pay the $350, come to 2 classes, but then their boyfriend or husband's got a cabin rented, and they go, well, I'm not going to be here for the rest of it, just keep the money. And she goes, so there's those people too. And they'll be back for another session. You know, it's important to them, but it's not their main thing in life. It's like, for a lot of people, the circus class is like going to yoga. It's just using strength. It's being on equipment that takes focus, building muscle. But it's not they're not dying to be circus artists. The school isn't about that. It's recreational circus, which has been a pretty new thing for 20 years.
Okay, interesting that and it's like, where does the generational gap of a teenager and post-COVID intersect with someone who's nearing retirement and went through it too, but had a much different experience? And
all of that, and just more red tape in general. You know, but it's just, you know, it's just time. And I mean, I noticed it on her once. I said, you don't leave here with the same glee every time. I said, I'm not knocking you. You know,
just pointing it, making an observation.
Yeah, just making an observation.
Will you please express my gratitude for the cheese?
Oh, I will.
I will. On that
I will.
Stuff, dude. Thanks.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. She makes really good pimento cheese.
It's perfect. It's exactly what I need.
That's one of our things. Sometimes we're going, we've had the same dinner 7 nights. I go, honey, why don't you just make some pimento cheese, and we'll just, and she makes her own croutons, like she's a crouton fanatic.
Croutons and cheese?
And we just dip the croutons in the cheese and watch some series we're watching at night, because when she gets home about 9:30, she wants to check out. She's done. You know, she wants to sit down. She doesn't even want to listen to me. I just want to watch something, because she goes, that's what they don't realize, she's kind of going at it all day up in her little office. She's dealing, a lot of parents, she gets this every session. she'll get some kids that have some sort of spectrum or whatever it may be thing, or they're slappers and spitters with the little kids, or they're runners. They just run out of class into the building, and then they got to go chase them down, and parents aren't there, just drop them off. And there's a lot of parents that want Meg to cure their kids through circus, and Meg's going, I can't do that. That's your job.
That's not what this is.
You know, that's not what this is.
Yeah.
You know, they will get self-esteem and everything, but at the point where it is now, like she's had to go, so some parents go, here's your money back, but your kid is a slapper and spitter. And she doesn't let parents in the studio. They have to wait out in the lobby because kids change when their parents are watching. They get really get in there.
Yeah.
But if it's just with the coaches, they're usually on point.
Yeah.
But, you know, you get these kids sometimes that just have some issues, I would say.
Sure.
And it's very
Takes over the
it's
class.
distracting in a class like that. And you know, circus, you're hanging, you're in the air, so you got to be kind of focused. You have to be very focused.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I bet that's going to be a good thing around the house, I would think, you know? And
Well,
is she going to kind of do what you did and
she doesn't know.
sort of retire, but also be doing lots of stuff?
It's still 2 years away. Don't know.
Yeah.
Things could change.
Yep. Yep.
I've already, you know, it's like the thing when you're a retired couple at home, you have to stay out of each other's way a bit in the day. So I got my nut hut.
Yeah.
Usually go play my bass, and then you reconvene for dinner and all that. But you see each other during the day, but you got to give
There's
the
gotta
space.
be a
I'm the maintenance man.
Yeah.
That's what she calls me.
Yeah.
You know, she says, you're bad at math, but you're such a good maintenance man. Yes. All right, Joe.
Shug.
All right, man.
Love it. Love it.
I love it too.
So can I trouble you actually for